Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the great state of Kansas. And it is my pleasure to introduce another movie I probably should have already seen. We're going all the way back to 2005 for Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg's adaptation of War of the Worlds. Something that, a story that's been out forever. I mean, everybody knows the original story of how it was originally a radio drama pre-World War II, and they thought that there was mass panic and people thought Germans were invading or aliens actually were coming. So it was a big deal, and Orson Welles thought it could possibly be, the thing that ruined his whole entire career, but it ended up becoming, more legend than anything else and made sure the story never died. The story picks up after a nice voiceover narration from, Morgan Freeman, the guy who can talk about a bowel movement and make it sound interesting. And it goes right to Tom Cruise at work. Apparently, he's a longshoreman. And let's face it, he doesn't pass the mustard as a longshoreman. There's never been a longshoreman that looked that perfect. And, thank goodness they didn't dwell too much on that. He goes home, and the plot starts pretty darn quick. He's obviously having some problems with his family, a divorce from his wife, arguing with the kids. His oldest son is a bit of a douche canoe, which is established very quickly into the movie. And his daughter, that played by the actress Dakota Fanning, I believe it is,
Yes.
She is remarkable. She turned into, grew up from a damn good child actor into an adult actor and did a solid job. All of a sudden, there's this great big thunderstorm, and Tom Cruise is, he may be, excuse me?
It's just lightning.
Yeah, so it's a storm with clouds, and he notices that the wind is blowing into the storm. So it shows he's a smart guy. He catches on to things pretty quick, and as he's walking around the neighborhood trying to do it, what I really liked and what I think Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise put together really well is having spent some time in New Jersey on every block. The best looking guy, the most popular guy, knows everybody on the block, from the auto mechanic to the neighborhood hoodlums and all the rest of that stuff. They established that, made that continuity actually pretty good. This has honestly been one of Tom Cruise's, in my mind, best performances. And the action starts off pretty quick with a really cool vaporizing gun where people just poof, and their clothes go flying, and the aliens are just, looking like this unstoppable force. So, Mr. Deadbeat Dad, Tom Cruise, decides to run and get his children and head on out. I like a couple of parts in here. Some of the stuff he did, some of the mannerisms he did were very, very convincing. I mean, any dad has looked at their son at least once and been like, "Oh, I want to kick your ass." And you know what? I found it entirely believable. So they go on the run. Okay. Like I said, fast paced. They managed to get a car, and they're driving away from the city where all the damage is happening as fast as they can. And they even mention it a couple of times. I don't want anybody to see that we've got a working car. So what do? They drive right into a crowd of people that takes their car from them and get on something that makes absolutely no sense. Okay, if there are huge alien crafts going around that are EMPing things and they have the ability to shoot space lasers out that vaporize people, would you really get on a slow-ass moving boat? Well, in this movie, they decided to, so they get on the boat gets knocked over, and they're going through, and they get to shore, and sure enough, they are under attack. As if it were written for a movie, somebody holds a shotgun out of a basement. It's like, "Hey, come here, stay with me." But before he does that, the kid, the son, who I don't understand how any self-respecting father would do this. The son's like, "Oh, no, I have to see this. I have to watch this. Let me go, Dad." The kid is 15. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Smack him on the back of the head and say, "You're coming with me." But, aside from the point, He lets the kid go for some odd deadbeat dad reason and goes and retreats into a basement with some complete stranger who turns out to be Tim Robbins, who plays...
Somebody was trying to take his daughter because she was by herself.
Well, yeah, while he's having a little bit of a...
he had to choose between his son or letting these people take his daughter.
Well, while he was having his tizzy with his son, he told his daughter to go wait by a tree. And not move. And some Karen is like, "Oh no, I can't leave you here alone. You're coming with me. No, my daddy's right there. No, you're coming with me. So Tom Cruise lets the boy go and goes and rescues his daughter and goes down to the basement with a crazy Tim Robbins, who does a really good job of playing somebody. Tim Robbins, I think, is a highly underrated actor. He does an amazing job of playing somebody who's clearly had a psychotic break. And there's a lot of tension. This creepy crawly device goes down into the basement looking for people. And Tim Robbins is clearly going to give their position away. So what does Tom Cruise do? The only thing that an action star does. He kills him. And which is great. So, he kills him, and then they decide, then another one of the little winder thingamajiggies come down in there and scares him out of the basement. Okay, so Tom and Dakota, or whatever is Tom, Dakota. I'm just saying Dakota because I also don't remember what the daughter's name. Rachel. Okay, yeah. Ray and Rachel. His character's name was Ray, and his daughter's name was Rachel. Anyways, Ray and Rachel go out to the front. And while Ray is dodging the alien craft trying to get him, Rachel just stands there, screams, and is captured. So...
Are you going to tell them the whole movie, or are you reviewing it?
It's 20 years old. They've probably seen it already.
Well, they're basically grinding up people and spraying them all over the place, and that's what freaked her out.
Which is pretty cool, I got to admit. Yeah, these crafts are taking human beings and grinding them up like slurry and spraying them all over the place. And they start to form this veiny thing to terraform the land. And anyways, Ray and Rachel are captured. They're in this basket. And there's a little hand that comes out when whoosh, snatches people, takes them through a chute and grinds them up. Well, wouldn't you know it? Ray, Tom Cruise, the action star, has found a way to smuggle on some grenades. So when it's Ray's turn to get sucked into the machine, he pulls the pin on some grenades, and some people pull him out, and boom, the machine and falls over. So they all get out. And he's probably the first one on Earth to actually kill and stop one of those machines. Dope. Okay. So they resume their trek back to, his ex-wife in Boston, who, he's going there because he's got no idea what the fuck to do with kids.
Well, and they're there to her parents.
And they're at, her parents, which would be a nice and safe house. All in all, so far the movie is very fast, very action-packed. And they get to Boston, and Ray, being a very observant man, points out to the military that's there, look, the birds are right next to the machines.
But wait, you're missing something.
Well, tell me what I'm missing.
He notices on a statue that the veiny stuff is turned white and chalky and is dying. And one of the machines was down, and he asked them, did you shoot it down? And they said no, it was acting erratically and just fell over. So as they're coming, there's another one, and that's when they're all trying to get away from it, and that's when he notices the birds are landing on it, and he finally gets the attention of the National Guards or the Army or whatever, and says, look at the effing birds, they're no shield. So then they start shooting it with the bazookas and blowing it up. Well, it crashes, and then it opens up, and the alien comes out, and it dies.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the end of it, and it tells you why they died.
I'm getting to that.
Okay,
so as she was saying, it was pretty much the end of it. The machine goes down, and the next scene, they make it to his former in-laws' house where his wife and her new husband, Tim, is staying. Reunites his daughter with his mother, and his son somehow magically has made it all the way there unscathed. This is the part that, as a dad myself, see, all right, the boy comes out, looks at him, they give him a hug, and all the rest of he's glad to see him, okay? If your boy leaves you in the lurch like that, yeah, you're going to be glad to see him, but there would be a little bit of, don't ever do that again, aside from the point. And then there's a nice ending voiceover done by Morgan Freeman talking about how the aliens were doomed when they got here because of bacteria. As soon as they ate, they breathed our air. As soon as they did anything, their number was up. Because over billions of years, we have developed immunities to all the creepy crawlies that are on this planet. They didn't. So they all withered and died. All in all, I really enjoyed the movie. My big gripe is it just ended a little too quick. I wouldn't have been upset with it if it lasted maybe another 15, 18 minutes and just kind of wound down the story from just action, over. But all in all, it wasn't bad. Tom Cruise, that was one of the better performances I've ever seen him do. I found him to be highly believable in it. And, most of the guys and gals who I've seen who say Tom Cruise plays the same character in every movie, not in this one. It really wasn't bad. So if you're ever looking for a movie to veg out or rewatch again, I would highly recommend it. War of the Worlds 2005 edition, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Tommy Boy Cruise. As always, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, good afternoon, good evening, and happy movie watching.
Subscribe for more.
Thanks.